Hello and welcome to Please Don't Send Me Into Outer Space, the podcast intent on exploring all that science fiction and fantasy has to offer, one random movie at a time. My name is Joel.
My name is Aaron.
The movie this week was Escape from New York from 1981, directed by John Carpenter. I don't know if you've ever heard of this movie. I understand that it's not actually that popular.
Nope, never heard of it before.
Okay. Well, starred Kurt Russell, Lee Van Cleef, Ernest Borgnine, Donald Pleasance, Isaac Hayes, Harry Dean Stanton, Adrienne Barbeau, and a bunch of other little character actors. It was for Season Hubley, it said like special appearance by Season Hubley. And she's the girl that gets pulled down. You know, a snake is about to mac on her, and then all of a sudden she gets pulled underground by some cannibals or whatever.
That poor woman.
That's right.
All she did was set up the world for Snake, and then she got nothing but pulled down.
I'm going to go off topic already. We haven't even reached the synopsis here. Just to say, there were 3 women in this movie. One of them was being attacked by men who were ripping her shirt off.
Okay, yes.
One of them was the person we just mentioned who unfortunately gets pulled underground. And the other one was Adrienne Barbeau, who I think can do some just fine acting, but since she's got a chest the size of Manhattan itself, we don't actually get to see any of that acting in any of the movies she's in.
She does suffer from, can you please, unbutton that shirt a little bit syndrome?
That's
definitely.
Right. Let's do it again, but yeah, why don't you take that other button off? Yeah, that's nice. Mr. Carpenter, you're on check. Wes Craven did the same thing. Anyway, let's do a little synopsis of this movie. Now, normally I have Aaron or the guest try to do the synopsis here. I'm going to synopsis this movie. Synopsize. I have invented a new word. It's called synops.
Synops. I like that word.
Because I keep saying it wrong. The story of this movie is a plane is going down on the island of Manhattan, which has in this future of, at first it's like 1988, right, or something like that. It's declared that, and when the movie starts, it's actually 1997 or somewhere around there. Plane goes down in the prison colony of Manhattan, where they put all of the criminals. There are no guards. The criminals are left to run the island as they see fit. This plane happens to have the president of the United States. They send in a team to go get them, but it becomes immediately apparent that an army is not going to be able to save him.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you.
I hate you.
Because there's this scene in the plane where the people who have taken over the plane are reading off their list of demands.
That is, yes.
And the security guard is supposed to get into the room, right? But all it looks like he's doing is just lightly tapping his gun on the door, like thunk, 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 and then turns around and he's like, sorry, the President of America, but I can't seem to get this door open.
I think all it says is they locked it.
Yeah.
Like, of course they locked it. That doesn't mean you can't break it down, man. Put your freaking back into it.
Yeah, it looked like just like an everyday, casual, bump my shoulder into the door.
Yeah. That was pretty great, though. She was, like, reading that speech right off a piece of paper. Like, the citizens of blah, blah, blah will no longer be. This is a killing blow against tyranny in my pants. No, they didn't say that part. So... coincidentally, just as this has happened, a soldier of quite some renown happens to have been arrested for crime. I don't think it becomes apparent what his crime was, but they're bringing him in. And they decide, well, they give him an ultimatum. They say, hey, we will set you free if you go in and get the president back for us. Also, you need to get this video, or not videotape, you need to get this cassette tape. But besides that, El Presidente. And if you do that, all of your crimes are erased. If you don't do that, then you're probably going to be dead anyways. But they also trick him. They put a little thing into his neck. He's going to die. Snake says, sure, that sounds great. And he skips his way onto a flying plane and goes in there, and then chaos ensues. That about sums it up.
Yeah.
Is this movie post-apocalyptic in your opinion? Because I don't think there actually has been an apocalypse. I think it's just
Well, you get the feeling that we're on the verge.
Right.
The reason why Snake is going in to save the president is because he needs to be at a meeting. And this meeting is going to stop World War 7, 8, 4, whatever you want to call it, the next big world war from happening, from the nukes from being launched. So that's his purpose. Well, at least, the proposed purpose of putting a bomb in his neck is to make sure that he can, stop World War 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he would need to necessarily save the president if it was this cassette tape that was the important thing. We hear part of the cassette tape, and I don't really remember what they said on it. I should mention that I had never seen this movie before. Aaron, you've probably seen it a couple of times before.
I've seen it. I've seen it twice. I think 2 or 3 times. It's a great movie, man. It's a lot of fun. Post-apocalyptic, though, I'm gonna have to say that it isn't. Now, obviously, the entire island of Manhattan is a prison colony now, which I'm gonna have to say that does sound pretty horrible. But I think that the world outside of this area is still in somewhat of a social structure. There's still, I don't think people are shooting people for gasoline yet, or at least,
No.
it's not perceived that it's gotten that bad yet.
We never get a sense of the rest of the world. It really, you can tell where the budget was in this movie, and it was spent on the models that they had to do and the small amount of cast that they had, and that stuff doesn't really matter anyways, because it's really about this movie is about atmosphere. I don't even feel like it's a movie about Snake Plissken, the main character. I feel like it's about creating a feeling of what is it? What is the word?
I think the word is dread.
Yeah.
You're walking. You see Snake Plissken walking through an empty Manhattan. He's just walking through the streets. There's broken cars. There's things that are on fire, and not a person in sight. Not a single person. Well, up until a certain point. But what this film does is it gives you this sense of dread as you're walking down these streets. At any moment, someone might be able to jump out at him. You're not sure when. You're kind of, the whole time, though, even at that, if Manhattan itself had been active at that time, there would have been cars everywhere. There'd be people walking, drunks everywhere. But that's not the case in this.
Yeah. It's empty, empty, empty. Which is the opposite of the terrible sequel, which I had seen before this, that movie is just busy, full of people, guns going off, I guess because that was supposed to be like, this is what Los Angeles is like. And frankly, other than a lot of guns going off, it is really busy and terrible and awful. But, New York is busy and terrible and awful when it comes to the amount of people and noise volume and smog and stuff like that. But this movie had you really felt like this was not New York anymore. This really was just an empty zone full of desperate people, and who knows what's going to happen. And then you get to meet these characters that are thriving in it, like Ernest Borgnine playing a cabbie who... When we got introduced to Ernest Borgnine sitting in that theater watching the men do that musical number, he is shiny, and he's the only one who's animated, and he's smiling. He looks like pardon my French. He looks like a robot, and it's freaking. He's a freaky looking guy in this movie.
I will agree with you that for the most part, most of the people on this island don't want to be there. And it's very obvious, and great acting, by the way. A bunch of really disgruntled people. But you're right, the cabbie, it's just, he's great. He's happy to be alive, Like you said, like a robot. He just has a smile on his face, the entire time. Snake runs into him in this place, and, they hop in his cab. And the entire time, he's just casually talking to him as he lights a model of cocktail and just throws it at a bunch of people. Hey, how's it going? And just tosses it.
He is the only one in this movie that smiles, except for crazy Peter Pan looking kid. I keep saying that in the very beginning we see this punk guy who threatens them to get the army away from trying to take the president away. And I keep thinking he looks like one of the Lost Boys or Peter Pan.
Yeah.
But I've brought that up several times, and nobody seems to agree with me.
I know, I see it. He totally looks like Rufio, I'd say. Like definitely the weird white version of Rufio.
Oh, he's a better actor than that. So, besides Cabby, when it comes to characters, and Snake, who, Snake's a character. I can't really delve into what Snake is. Like, I feel like, just like in the movie, Snake is an idea that has been blown up into people's minds, and everybody's saying, like, "You're Snake? I thought you were dead," and all this stuff in the movie.
The reoccurring line in this film, definitely.
What is he? What is so?
Well, Snake Plissken was supposed to be a war hero, I believe. This is a man who's done several great things for our country.
World War III.
Yeah, he's listed as a dude who was on the president's list, I believe. And
Hottest asses.
More than likely. I mean, we are talking about Kurt Russell here. So, but yes. And now apparently his crime that is his undoing is that he breaks into either Fort Knox or some type of high risk high security bank facility of some sort.
He just wanted some gold.
I think so, and that's what sent him on this course of ending up on Manhattan Island. So.
All right. So what makes him special is that he, A, doesn't seem afraid of anything.
Yes.
B, seems incredibly intelligent. Like, even though he's not afraid, he's not gung-ho about running into a situation. He is about stealth. He is about being quiet. He's about checking out what's going on before making his move and getting information that way. He runs into several dead ends in the movie, but that does not stop him. He keeps on going. Like, he is determined. And even saying all those aspects of him, I feel like his character was kept at a minimum so that we didn't feel like, you couldn't tell him what his favorite color was.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. They did dehumanize him a bit, but I think that was so that he could do his job,
Right.
The task at hand was surviving. He didn't want those bombs to go off. So, I don't think we really had time to learn what his favorite ice cream flavor was, but which by the way, that would have been amazing had they actually discussed that in the film, just to hear Kurt Russell with that gritted tone. I really like chocolate chip, or something like that.
If you don't have cookie dough, I don't want any. Yeah, something like that. But, pointing out that he doesn't seem to actually have a character other than the traits that we are presented with, that doesn't take away from the movie, because I feel
Absolutely
like the
not.
movie is not about Snake Plissken escape from L.A. It's about, I said it, no, not escape from L.A. God, help
New York.
me. Help me.
It's okay,
Get
man.
me some bleach so I can pour it on my brain. It's
worry
not
about
about
it, Joel.
Snake Plissken escape from New York, is what I was going to say. It's about the escape from New York. It is about what that place has become, about like I said, the people occupying it, about what's going on. It's so cool.
Yeah, agreed. It's just it's a fun action movie too, and I love just the whole scope of it. Just the whole thing is just so much fun from beginning to end. I don't know, man. I love it. It's a fun movie.
Yeah. So, I am happy about this movie for one particular thing. One particular actor. I love Kurt Russell. And I even like Ernest Borgnine a lot. Let me say that again. I like Ernest Borgnine, but Harry Dean Stanton is one of those, hey, it's that guy actors that you just can't. He played Brain in the movie.
Oh, Brain. Okay, yeah, I was thinking
Right.
like, okay, cool.
You see him, and you've been seeing him for decades. I think that a lot of people who didn't know him had become familiar with him as the Prophet from the TV series Big Love.
Oh,
but
I haven't seen that show. But okay, cool.
Well, that's because it's about your family. That's not true. But he's been in so many things. He had a very small part in the Avengers movie when the Hulk falls out of the Quinjet and like lands. He's the janitor that's like cleaning up the stadium thing. He's
no
like, "Boy,
way.
you don't got no clothes," or whatever he says.
That's him, huh?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. But
He has that face then, man. He just has that face.
you want to see a really good Harry Dean Stanton performance in Repo Man with Emilio Estevez. It's great. That movie is weird and great. Like, I hope
Awesome.
we'll have to cover it.
Yeah, we'll have to cover
because it has science fiction.
Well, I mean,
elements.
if the randomizer, you know.
I don't want to talk about the randomizer. I'm afraid of the randomizer.
It's okay, Joel. It's okay.
Anyways,
just remember, you have emotion. The randomizer doesn't.
Randomizer, he didn't mean that.
It's cold and heartless and chooses films for us.
God. No. Aaron, there's blood everywhere. Anyway, I didn't know he was in the movie, so it was super cool to see him just out of nowhere. And he has a pretty big part in this movie. He becomes one of Snake's kind of sidekicks. He goes along with it pretty well, I guess because he thinks he's going to get off the island or something like that.
Well, it goes along with the fact that almost every Snake is like a public character. He's a public character in this dimension or movie. I guess he's known throughout everywhere, and specifically, Brain has worked with Snake before. Their first conversation is about that one time that didn't go well.
Right.
You
get the sense that they were in the war together or something.
Yeah.
Like that, right? I don't know if they specifically mentioned that.
They mentioned, just in distant memory, I can't remember the name of the mission or whatever. They gave brief detail but basically just leads to the fact that, we know each other, so you're going to help me. Kind of a thing.
You and your girlfriend are gonna help me. I gotta do better. You and your girlfriend are gonna help. Nah, yeah.
More Solid Snake than Snake Plissken, but I like it.
Metal Gear. Yeah. So Brain is one of the big. Harry Dean Stanton's character Brain is one of the big cheeses on the island. He's basically the right-hand man of the Duke.
Yes, the Duke of New York.
The Duke who happens to have the president, because of course he's with the Duke. Somebody even says that. The Duke has him. Everybody knows that. That's funny.
Cabby.
Oh, Cabby says that? I keep... About a week after we watched the movie, I watched the movie The Game. So I keep mixing up the part where... have you seen the movie The Game?
No.
There's a part where Michael Douglas gets into a cab, and the cab driver drives really violently, and then he drives the cab into the bay.
Oh gosh!
And jumps out before it goes in there.
Sure.
Michael Douglas is stuck in the back. I was like, that didn't happen in Escape from New York. Snake, I'm sorry I have to do this to you, Claire. Bam.
That movie sounds pretty fun too.
Yeah.
I gotta check that one out.
So the Duke is played by Isaac Hayes. I don't know. He doesn't really, even though everyone's talking about the Duke, he doesn't really seem to have that much of a big part.
He doesn't pull off the presence that they're building up for.
Right.
I mean, he seems like a harsh but well, I guess just dictator. The only reason why Brain, I'm sure, is still alive is because he makes the gasoline. That's the whole point behind him. So basically, everyone is reduced in this Manhattan society is reduced to what can you do for the Duke, essentially.
Right. What gang are you a part of, and what can they do for the Duke? Also?
Exactly.
Unless you're one of the crazies, then you
steal girls.
You steal girls and you hit manholes covers with wrenches.
Dink, dink, dink. That scene, though, I mean, I know that scene was amazing, though. The amount of foreboding that you got when that crazy was just running around and hitting plates. You're you just get this insurmountable feeling that it's gonna get bad real quick.
On top of that, that scene is directly precedes where Snake has he'd been using a health monitor type thing to track the president. It turned out that they had put it on just some random goober guy. I'm the president, and he starts singing "Hail to the Chief." It's like some Christmas. It's like "Hail to the Chief." Right? He's singing some Christmas song, but with a "Hail to the Chief." It's pretty great. But after that, it's like he doesn't know. He communicates back with Lee Van Cleef, who is the like general type person who sent him in at the first place. Remind me to go back to Lee Van Cleef.
No problem.
But he doesn't have a lead. So he's just kind of walking down the road trying to see maybe if he can find somebody he can ask about this or something like that. Somebody else he can hold the gun on. And that's when you first see that one crazy guy tapping on the manholes and you're like, what is going on? That's what he's thinking. You can see it on his face. He's thinking, what is going on? And then they start coming out of the woodwork, and he's running with them also. Like, he's not... It's almost like he's trying not to panic.
Yeah.
He's just looking for a shelter real quick, and he does. He ducks in, and that's when we meet that girl for about 2 minutes. And, yeah, that's a really good scene. Because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's just... like, even with the build-up leading to that, where you don't see anyone, and then when you do see everyone, it's just like your worst fears are confirmed that everyone's just flipping crazy, you know? So way to go, John Carpenter. That was, well played in my opinion.
About a month and a half ago, I had just watched Attack on Precinct 13.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it has a scene that's actually really similar to that because they're all hauled up in Precinct 13. And the gang, the multicultural gang that's attacking them,
sure,
is just like a kind of like a zombie horde because there's tons of them and they just keep rushing in and stuff like that. It's kind of like the crazies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I've wanted to see that one.
It's worth a watch. It's got some really good performances. I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but I'm a snob. So Lee Van Cleef, I'm familiar with his Western work. You know, I've I think I've only seen like 2 movies he was in. I've seen The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, of course, and Take a Hard Ride, which was kind of a blaxploitation Western type thing.
That sounds kind of fun though.
It's very enjoyable, but I didn't recognize him because I mean, he does kind of have a distinctive face or anything like that. Yeah. But I've just never... First of all, I don't think I've actually ever heard his real voice because I'm pretty sure he was dubbed over in both of those movies by somebody else because it was Italian stuff.
Okay.
And second of all, it's, he's older.
Yeah.
All this stuff like that. But I like him. I like Lee Van Cleef a lot. I think I'm going to send him a note that says, "Do you like me?" And say, yes, no, maybe. See what I get back. What do you think? Think I got a chance?
I think you do, man.
All right.
Just got to find that address.
Mm-hmm. 111. I'm not alive anymore. Street.
Aww. Rest in peace, man.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I haven't. This is the only film I've seen him in, and sure he wasn't very menacing or foreboding to begin with, but later on in the film, you definitely get the sense that this guy can run. He is obviously top dog here, and people are definitely willing to listen to him as he rules with an iron fist.
Yeah, totally. Wait, what?
Van Cleef, right?
Oh, he's weird. I don't know what his thing is because when he shows up on the base, he's comes out of a limousine.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not there for what's going on with the president's plane either. He just, it's almost like he just happens to be showing up. Yeah, it's just extra fluff at the beginning of the movie.
Sure.
So, I feel like we're running long on this already, but there's so many things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the special effects and how I love old school special effects. I love that they had to use models.
Yes.
And like that whole computer grid thing where it was supposed to be the city, where it was just like they had made a model and painted it green and that.
Yeah, and just ran the camera across the top of it. Oh,
So
beautiful.
They were still doing that in like Hackers.
Oh, really?
There's like a scene where they're like going through the mainframe and it's
Sure.
stuff like that, and it's like a painted model.
Physical model? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I want to see Hackers again.
Oh, this movie's better than Hackers.
Oh, obviously this movie's way better than Hackers, but
Although this movie was sorely missing some Matthew Lillard. That's, I gotta get my fix. The president's plane in the beginning, obviously a model, and the glider he goes into, that's freaking
the pod too, the bright orange protect the president pod.
Yeah.
That was well done, really well
None
done.
of that. Like, I wish practical was still the way, like a cheaper way to do things. I realize that cost concerns and contracts with digital companies are what rule what kind of effects are on there. But when Snake is walking by the wreckage of Air Force One, it's like I feel like I could reach in and feel that set.
Absolutely.
It wasn't an explosion or anything like that. They didn't need any of that kind of stuff. I mean, that wasn't, even though this movie is kind of like famous for being the action movie, it's not, it's all quiet and slow, like we've been saying. And there's a reality to all the sets that is just not a thing anymore.
Yeah, and definitely, I feel that unfortunately a lot of the computer generated stuff, definitely you lose that feel, that tactile feel. But I mean, if there are a few directors that find fusion, I think Del Toro can definitely use a lot of practical and still use some CGI. And
well, you saw that amazing Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, that was a awesome combination of practical and special and computer or whatever, the digital.
Digital.
It's called. Like some of the things that they did stunt work on is like, I don't think people would do that anymore. It's cheaper to do a CGI, of course, when it comes down to like insurance costs or potential danger to people's lives and stuff like that. And I understand, people shouldn't die on movie sets, but we did kind of lose something.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what? I love this movie. Like, Escape from New York is really fun, and I hope that you, the listener, also get that feeling from this, just because it's way fun.
I get the feeling.
If you haven't seen it, you should definitely just stop what you're doing, go to Netflix, just watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I get the feeling that the kind of people that will listen to this particular episode are the kind of people that do like this movie. That's why I would be... Let us do something. Here's a warning. We're going to talk about anything negative about this movie that we can think of. Now...
Okay.
Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, there were only 3 women in this movie, and they
Correct.
didn't really seem to be of any importance. Adrienne Barbeau has a bunch of lines, but they could have left her character out.
Well, I mean, it was even Cabby, who knows apparently everything about the island of Manhattan, was just like, oh, that's brain squeeze. Mm-hmm. So like Adrienne Barbeau is already just there because
Duke gave it to her.
Yeah, so she's an object already. It's already established. Let's see, the guy's pawing at that girl. She was just an object for that scene too.
Yeah, that's it's just one of those little gross things, but it also kind of set the atmosphere. Like you have to wonder how women would even get to this island. I mean, somebody must be smuggling them in. I really doubt this is a cohabitated
agreed prison. Though the lady that Snake just met out on the street seemed, she seemed like this is just where she lived, like it didn't seem like she was a prisoner,
Yeah, I wonder if there were just people who got left behind, because I think
so.
What did Cabby do? He said he'd been driving that for years and years.
So he probably just didn't leave when the whatever evacuation happened, or even if there wasn't an evacuation,
It'd be really funny if they knew that was going to happen and he like committed a crime so that he could stay there or something.
I could see him doing that just to continue being the cabbie of Manhattan.
So those are the only women. When it comes to love interest, I really think the love interest in this movie was Cabby.
Yeah, because
spoiler, when Cabby gets shot, that's the only time Snake really seems kind of torn up about what happened. And the end of the movie is kind of a direct, like, this one's for you, Cabby.
Yeah, it was the causation for what he decided to do. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow, I'd never made that connection before. Wow.
So sometimes love just happens on the battlefield. So what else? I mean, is there anything else really?
If I could be critical of this film in any way, what would be the thing?
That Donald Pleasance is a British man who can't hold his accent. He's the guy who played the president.
Oh, yeah. He seemed rather not American. That's true.
He doesn't really say very much in the movie, so it's not really a big deal. I'm just literally just trying to find things to nitpick about.
I can't. And maybe it's just because I'm too close to the film, Joel. I don't know.
No.
I'm too close to it.
I think that the bigger you think about the world that it contains, the more questions you're going to have that aren't going to be able to be answered. But just thinking of it in the context of what we saw and what we know, you can't really complain about the movie. You either enjoyed what happened or you didn't.
Yeah. I know that some would criticize John Carpenter's soundtrack skills, but I'm going to defend it, though, even though this is our critique moment.
Listen.
Because I flippin' love his one-key synthesizer, dude. I'm sorry.
Listen, Aaron, I like John Carpenter's soundtracks. I like to listen to them outside of the movie. Now, this one, the soundtrack to the entire movie had some great parts to it, but there were a lot of single-note things that he was just holding on to that kind of felt like, you didn't have to do anything here, man. You could have left that out. It's not, I mean, that's not really complaining. Like, the soundtrack is essential to what the movie is. It's part of what makes the movie.
Yeah, you get that sense of foreboding from it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right, though. Okay, I'll be realistic. If I have to critique anything, definitely the single note scenes are just kind of like, just hit another key, man. Just
scene.
Yeah. I think that's about it, though. That's all I can really critique on it, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. You tried your best. I understand. I don't need anyone to spit on this movie, and I don't think it needs to be spit on. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's not a big deal. If you do like it, you do love it. I totally understand that, too. It's all cool around here.
Yeah, man.
Put down the gun.
Okay.
It's just a podcast. Oh, you're just cleaning the gun? Well, good for you, sir. So, we are going to fire up the old randomizer here.
All right.
And this time...
Okay, here's the knobs.
We're going to try not to do anything that's going to cause ourselves physical... Ow! Ow!
Joel, what are you doing? What?
Why did I replace the buttons with needles? It seemed like a good idea at the time.
You must have been watching them Hellraiser films or something.
Oh, yeah. Pinhead. You're a pinhead. All right. Okay, so...
Oh, okay. So once you took your finger off the needle there, it slid back into the machine and made some noises.
Oh, that's kind of gross. It looks like it needed my blood to activate.
Oh, man.
This thing is getting weird. Okay, the movie it gave us was Jungle Book from 1942, directed by Zoltan Korda. This is going to be our first fantasy movie. Because I don't think they have any sort of robots in Jungle Book, but I could be wrong. We'll have to see. I actually have seen this movie before. I shouldn't pretend like I haven't. I watched it when I was going through... what happened? My mother got me a collection of free movies from like a DVD collection thing. It's called like The Great Movies, and it's mostly like TV movies with a couple of other things that are just don't belong to any company.
Yeah, it seems like an old timely film.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Cool.
I think we'll have fun.
Well, I'm looking
talking
forward to
about
it. Thank you, Randomizer. For...
Yes. And please don't take any more of my blood, especially not while I'm sleeping. So we will be handling that Jungle Book 1942 next week. Until then, I'd just like to say that Escape from LA is a bad, bad movie. But we watched Escape from New York, so I should stop talking about it. Thank you for listening. My name is Joel.
And my name's Aaron.
And we see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.